This webinar is brought to you by Financial Sense, by Plooto, and by Wagepoint. And these are all applications that I use and love, but I am going to be demoing some automation options from all three products. I have never demoed three products in one webinar, and I rejigged some of my demo accounts earlier this week to try and make sure that it was going to be useful automations I show you. If I stumble and fall, be patient with me because this really is a first for me, but hopefully you'll get some value out of it. The reason we are gathered here today is we are going to learn how to set up end-to-end automation for your firm, in particular using Financial Sense, Plooto, and Wagepoint. So let's take it from there. Oh, and straight off the bat, my clicker does not want to advance my slides. So this is me. I'm Kelly Parks, Comwater's Cloud Accounting. I want every professional to love cloud accounting as much as I do, so I build templates for it. And I am certified in over a dozen cloud applications. It's almost more like 24 cloud applications, mostly accounting ones. I am certified for both Plooto and Wagepoint. I'm a proud member of the International Trainer Writer Network, an alumni of the FreshBooks Partner Council, and I love my new title and my new role. I am the leader bean. So Sharam was nice enough to let me have a silly title. I am the leader bean of the Financial Sense Ambassador Program. That's a brand new program for us, and I'm super excited to be in that role. So thank you, Financial Sense. Today's agenda is how and when to set up automation. I'm going to show some fun automation. It's not just going to be about the applications. I'm going to show a few fun automations before we get to the demos. Then I'm going to talk about Financial Sense automation, Plooto automation, Wagepoint automation, and then of course I'm going to do a summary. If you are like me, and I know a lot of you are crazy like me, you will notice that I did the order that we're going to do things in alphabetical order. So that was kind of fun. My husband thinks I'm a complete nerd, not just for numbers, but the fact that everything has to be in the proper alphabetical order. So, oh, and there goes my clicker again. Okay. How and when to set up automation. I want to start with 100%. A lousy system is never something that you should automate. Automating a lousy system can wreak all kinds of havoc. It can lead to more time consumption than just doing a really solid system manually. So the system is the key thing here. Make sure that you have that down. And the way to build a solid system starts by defining the outcome. What is it that you want this process, this workflow, or the automation to do for you? What is the thing that you want to wind up with as joy and happiness? So define the outcome before you start with things. Then build the system, routine, or process around that outcome, and then test the bejeebers out of the system. And then you are ready to automate the drudge work. Here are some fun automations, and a lot of them have low consequence. So they are easy to build and they have low consequence if things go sideways. The biggest one being an online scheduler. An online scheduler that automates your meeting link, that sends an email reminding people of it, that they can book automatically from you. So have that on your website, but put it behind a paywall. So I get paid almost always before somebody can book with me. So make sure it's behind a paywall. That's a nice little automation. Then of course that payment and the invoice from my online scheduler are going to drop into my QuickBooks file, so that though the invoice is created, the new contact is created, all of that stuff. There is so much fun automation around an online scheduler, not to mention how it sets boundaries and does all kinds of things for you. QBO bank rules. This is one to be very, 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 very careful with. I love having QuickBooks Online bank rules. I also like to lay eyes on what those rules are doing, because sometimes they go a little sideways and sometimes the transaction may not actually apply to that rule this month or this week, whatever it may be. I think it's still considered an automation that you have those rules. You don't have to code them. The one time that I did do automation of my QBO bank rules was a client that had a lot of POS machines, thousands of transactions going on, and everything was dumping into a clearing account. So the sales reports were dumping into the clearing account. Then the bank feed was dumping into the clearing account, and then we reconciled that weekly. So we still had a stopgap measure on that automation to make sure it was working properly. Chrome startup pages, which I'm going to show you in a minute, they're super fun. App syncing, whether it's Zapier or Make. I am not a power user of Zapier. I have some super simple zaps that make my life really easy. I have quite a few of them. You do not have to use Zapier for big, heavy lift things. You can sync contacts with it. You can use it to schedule things. I use it to duplicate my calendar. Don't ask, it's too complicated to tell you why I'm duplicating my calendar, but I used to have to do that manually. So some of my, and especially the contacts, some one-way syncs into QuickBooks in particular are lousy syncs. They only send over the first and last name in the first name field, and that's it, no other details. So app syncing is really fun. Data location redundancy. I am using apps to automatically back up my data. That's another automation that is working beautifully. I get an email every week of what was synced though, so that I know that that automation is still running. You need to make sure you know they're still running. I have my computer and my router set on schedules. The computer one shuts down at 7 o'clock every evening this time of year, and it shuts down at 6 o'clock when we go back from daylight savings time. The beautiful thing about having my computer shut down is that it reboots my computer so that any updates are installed. It cleans the computer completely, and it gives the fan a rest. So it is good for the life of your computer. The other nice thing about this automation is that it sets some boundaries around my working hours, because once the close down process begins, I can't stop it. So that's good and bad. I was online. I do work with some Australians, and I was online and my computer shut down twice while I was working with Australians, but I think it's still worth it. Also, it keeps the nefarious characters out. If you shut your computer, nefarious characters love to go into computers when there is going to be a longer stretch of nobody using it, because there's a better chance they won't be found out while they're doing nefarious things. So the computer shutting down on a schedule is beautiful. It takes less than a minute for my computer to boot up in the morning. So again, it's worth the trade-off. My router, rather than waiting for my internet to crap out, my router shuts down and reboots at 3 a.m. on Monday morning. I call that Sunday night, but it's rebooting automatically so that I don't have to go in and do it when it's gotten awful for me. Text expanders, another one of my favorite automations. Text expanders are that you put in a couple of characters and it spits out an entire phrase or a complicated word. So I use text expanders like crazy. You can look up what text expanders are, and then you're going to go, oh, that's goody. So I use that both on my Stream Deck and on my iPhone. I have text expanders. My text expanders are also on my, anyways, they're everywhere. So I am not pecking out the same thing over and over. My iPhone is silenced. It goes to no, I generally don't have notifications on my iPhone anyways, but absolutely everything shuts down from 6 o'clock at night, which is the start of the cocktail hour. So it should shut down, shuts down at 6 o'clock at night, and it goes through until 7 o'clock in the morning. And that is another one that I really like. And then smart home schedules. I have all kinds of things on a schedule. I have our furnace is on a schedule so that it is cooler at night and warmer during the day. It also shuts down during the day in the summer. There's all kinds of things that I have on our smart home schedules. So those are just some of the fun automation. And then somebody asked, what am I using for data location redundancy? So for backups, I am using Rewind on my QuickBooks files. I am using Cloud HQ to back up my Google Drive, and Google, all of my Google apps and Google Drive are backed up using Cloud HQ onto Dropbox, so that I have them completely out of the Google space. So those are a couple of my backup protocols. Anyways, that's some of the fun automation, and I wanted to keep it light and not just about the applications that I'm using. But right now, I want to show you the Chrome startup pages. I mentioned those as an automation that I love. I have Chrome identities. If you don't know what those are, you can go to my YouTube and look up the Google stuff. But Chrome identities means that I can work independently in identities in Chrome, and I can have all kinds of bookmark systems and fun things going on. But one of the automations, and you can set this up super quickly, is to have the startup pages open up automatically that you want. So you are not opening up applications one by one. You have to be careful with this. You don't want to open too many pages at once, or it slows down the whole process of opening them up. But it is pretty magic to have the pages that you want. It is super simple to set up. Open up the pages that you want, go into settings. When you are in settings, just start pecking in startup pages, and you can use current pages. That is a super duper simple automation to set up. That is a huge win in my books, rather than opening up things. And just for fun, just so that you know, also you can set up a number of things, and if you right click on a folder, you can open them all automatically up as well. So there's some information not related to what it is we're going to talk about today. Okay, back to where we were. I want to talk about Financial Sense. One of the big automations that is new to Financial Sense is that Zapier is in beta. This is an amazing way. We're going to start. I would start, if I were you, with shipping contact information around. So although you can bring your contacts in from QuickBooks, you may want to bring them in from other places. Maybe you're using a CRM program, whatever it is. You can bring those contacts in through Zapier now. And then you can start to muck with any other automation that you want to build out using Zapier. So that's a big automation win that's come into play just recently. One of the things I really want to talk about, though, is recurring projects. So in here, and again, this is a demo account, so be patient with me if I don't have the ins and outs exactly correct in here. But if I want to have a project recur, there are all kinds of magical ways to make it recur. So the first thing I want you to do is see what the start date is, see how I've named it, and then what the due date is. The due date and the start date are important. They relate to the accounting period. Some people are wondering, what's the accounting period? It is, what is it? And if you name it properly, it shows up in the naming convention of the project itself. So make sure you use this, because this starts July 1st. That is obviously a June start date. So make sure that you use this feature. This is a feature I love, because now it is going to show up in the name and you will know what month you're working on. Love that. So to make it recurring, though, these are all of the easy to implement options. This is the one that I use most often. And the reason I use custom most often is because I can actually start it on a day. So I want to start on, do I want to start it on the 10th day, or do I want to start it on a Monday? I generally start all my projects on a Monday, because I don't want any notifications that may be automated to go out on the weekends. I want them to start rolling out on the proper day of the week. So this is one of the things that I absolutely love. And then you can decide how far ahead do you want this project to start to show up. So we're going to apply that And then we are done. Oh, there's lots more things that you can do in here, but mostly I want to talk about the automation of it. And then when you are in here, let's go into verify the file. When you are in verify the file, this will, because it's built into the template, will automatically recur. But you can add a task. You can add a task. Let's just go test. You can save it, and you can make it not recur. Of course, it's a demo file, so you know that I am screwing it up. So it doesn't have to recur with the project. So this is a stopgap of automation. This is a process that you can control automation. You can add a one-time task to your templates that either recurs or does not recur. That's a big one. I hope I made that clear. Was that an easy one? Did I do a good job of explaining why that's important? So recur, not recur. That's controlling automation, because you may not want something to show up every single month. There is something called tag automators as well, so that you can create a tag. We're going to add, when a task is completed, add or remove a tag, and you can move it into review, whatever you've set up for tags, so that when you go to your dashboard, you are able to see a tag, which can be a status, which can be informational, whatever the case may be. One of the other automations I love is that you can create dependencies. A dependency, for example, would be that you cannot reconcile until you have completed all of the publishing of receipts, for example. So that's a couple of automations that I love, especially the recurring projects. And so right here is what I was talking about. Make sure you label them properly. That's part of building a system before you automate something. I recommend in your financial sense files that you use a template. Well, first of all, test it on yourself. Feel like it feels to be the client. And then use a template a couple of cycles to make sure you've got it the way you want it. And then go ahead and automate a lot of that process. The client task, there is an absolute ton of automation in here. You can have things go out. I just want to mention again, because I think some people know I love this. You can customize that upload button. I know that's not an automation, but it's such a process when you get people to put things where you want it. You can have them recur with the project. So I could add a task right now, and then I could decide whether it is going to recur with the project. Maybe I just want that thing that 1 month. Everything is in real time. This is an automation that I love. So if I put in a client chat and then I want to add another note, if the client happens to be in there right then and there, this will update in real time into what they are seeing. Same with the tasks. It will update in real time to what you are doing. There's not a delay, like a second or two, but there isn't a delay where they have to refresh or go back in. It is automatically refreshing. You can set up automated notifications, and when you set up those notifications, you can start the first day of the reminder. So I like things to start on the 5th to remind them, and then you can pick how often it is going to go out to them. So every 2 days, let's say. You can also decide on a time. It's company wide. You can decide on a time that is going to go out. So do you want it to go out at 7 a.m. Eastern? Do you want it to go out at 7 a.m. Central? Whatever, you can set up a time. That is across all clients, so you can't specify by client. So this is the client automated area is killer. Loving it. Oh, okay. So a couple of other things. Notifications. Your notifications, you can have them come to you by email, or you can disable that automation and you can go in and find. This is what I do. I don't have them emailed to me again, and I don't like distractions and email. When I'm going to go in and work, I'm going to go in and work. And then when you go to your notifications, it's going to open all of your unread, and then you can go through your unread. So you can set it up to email you, or you can set it up to only be found within the product. As well, there is something. So when Marissa and I are working in something, I can @ Marissa within a task and it automatically notifies her as well. QB for both time and clients. So that's my financial sense automation demo. Are there any, if you have any other questions about financial sense and automations that you want to know about, please put them into the chat. I am all ears and I'd love to hear what it is that, what else you want to know about, because I'm probably going to have a few minutes at the end to go back to anything and demo it, or at least answer it. Okay, so I am just I am just signing into my Plooto demo account, and it is not letting me sign into my Wagepoint account because I'm a ding dong. I will come back to the Wagepoint one in a minute, but let's jump into Plooto. So Plooto. So this is, sorry, this is where it is not seamless. I'm jumping around a little bit between my slide deck and what I have going on in the demo. So Plooto also has a ton of automation. And so they have automation both on the AP and the AR side. One of the automations is, of course, a two-way sync with QBO, Xero. But I also would like to mention that it has an absolutely stellar integration with QuickBooks Desktop. And the reason that I think that that's important is a lot of the heavy job costing is still going to be in desktop. And if it's heavy job costing, it is probably heavy accounts payable and accounts receivable. The accounts payable side was a gigantic win for me with a client that was in QuickBooks Desktop, had heavy accounts payable, and we went from like a full day of accounts payable to him being able to me processing the payments, Jeff approving the payments within 20 minutes. It was amazing. There is such a fit for QuickBooks Desktop. So don't discount the fact that there is an integration. A lot of people don't know that. And if you have heavy payables, get this rolling right away. It's through Web Connect, so you do have to like push the button, but that's all there is to it. And then it brings it all in. So outstanding AR and AP is imported. The completed payments are synced back into QuickBooks, either online desktop or Xero. And then you reconcile, you can find the feed. The matches are either in the bank feed through a transfer, depending on how many payments were processed together, or they drop directly into the bank feed as individual payments. The one thing to make sure you do is that you reconcile the Plooto clearing account to make sure that it is always running in real time. Just going to give you a little word of caution. It's not a big problem, but if you don't reconcile to Xero, I do get clients that occasionally jump in and pay or receive money without recording it in QuickBooks. It will come in, but you may not know what it is for. So it's just something that clients tend to do. That's a problem in the workflow. It's not a problem in Plooto. But make sure you are reconciling, just like any other clearing account, that you are reconciling that Plooto clearing account. I get paid on recurring monthly revenue on my PAD agreements. It auto deposits the AR into your bank account. I absolutely love that. The other thing, this is slightly manual, but still mostly automated. If you set up PAD agreements with your clients and you do ad hoc work, which I do, if you do ad hoc work, you can send out random invoices. Well, they're syncing into Plooto. You can have those random invoices also paid through the PAD agreement. That reduces the friction on a client needing to initiate a payment with you. All they need to do is approve it. I absolutely love that. That is fantastic for the project work. On the AP side, not only will the vendor be paid automatic deposit into their bank, they will also automatically get an email that tells them when they're going to be paid. If there is a source document, the source document will be attached. And if the source document came into the QuickBooks transaction, the source document will be attached as well as a summary of what is being paid. So this is a beautiful process. Vendors love it, and it takes the heat off of having to have those awkward phone calls or avoid the awkward phone calls or whatever it may be. When you do process payments, they have an approval process that automatically goes to the approver. The approver can then approve things or send them back for fixes or change the date or do whatever it is that they want to do with them. So there is a variety of payment methods. You can use credit cards and it's customizable, but I love the auto send for payment approvals. Okay, so I think I saw a question and it looks like they are being answered in here. What do you recommend for AR integration? I may have to come back to that one because I wasn't quite sure. Okay, so Kimberly is asking what other apps would Plooto take place or compare to? So in the States, yeah, that would be Plooto, Bill. And then here in Canada, it's Telpay, which is not a seamless experience. I'm not slamming it. Telpay and RBC Edge. But what is really nice, and this is a feature, to be frank, I didn't know a whole lot of, Plooto Capture. So Plooto Capture OCRs the receipts. It then sends the receipts over to your GL, whether it's QuickBooks or Xero. It sends a receipt over, and then you can pay through Plooto based on the fact that it's gone into QuickBooks and it's bouncing back into Plooto, all with that auto sync. So Capture is receipt management. It is a, I have demoed it. It's a pretty good alternative to a couple of the receipt capture applications. And the OCR, for my Canadian friends, the OCR extracts the face value tax consequence, not the true tax consequence. So it's not going to default to 13%. It will OCR the tax consequence. You can always override it if you want, but Capture definitely captured my attention. So let's just take a quick run through what that looks like. I'm actually doing fine for time. So this is Capture. Ignore the data I put in here. I was monkeying about. So yes, I have some grocery receipts in here, but you can see that I did not give it the best example. So it has had a few things. Once you get rolling in this though, and once you give it good data and get it used to things, these rules can be set up so that they auto-populate. They are set up under contacts so that they auto-populate, but you can see that it has picked up the invoice number, the dates, if there was a tax consequence, which there isn't here. And then you can set some settings that you want, including auto-publish over to your connected GL. So this is something that I am going to take a harder look at for sure. We've got payables. Oh, let's go to here. So it is a demo account, so it may have disconnected from my QuickBooks file. Here we go. Okay, so these are open bills. Again, yeah, don't judge me. I know they're grocery stores. It's a demo file. So if I wanted, one of the things that I love is actually if you drag it up, it will give you the sum total of all of the contacts. This is a really nice feature so you know what is owed, and then you can sort by all kinds of criteria within dragging that up there. You can go ahead and pay a number of bills all at once, and then this is going to send it on over to whoever is going to be the approver on it. So you've got some controls. I can't pay out of this. Otherwise, this would not even appear if this is something that has already been paid to a vendor in the past. It would just default to sending or paying them into their bank account. But what I really want you to take a look at here is PAD agreements. I have a pending receivable. It is set up on a PAD agreement. It's going to tell me when it's going out and what is happening with it. And then I can do all kinds of things to change that PAD agreement if I want, and then it can be recur indefinitely or just for a certain amount of time. This is a feature I absolutely love. You can do recurring payments to vendors as well. So super strong automation in the Plooto world. All right, we're gonna dump off Plooto for a second. And I am going to try like the dickens. Go ahead and ask some questions while I try and log into my Wagepoint demo account. Just give me a second. This was a swing and a miss that it fell by the wayside for me. Just give me 2 seconds on this. I'll move you through to the Wagepoint automation screen though. I told you it wasn't going to be seamless. It's like I called up the universe or something. Oh. Almost there. It's going to want my 2-factor. Oh. Hold on. Plooto is a Canadian company. It runs in the US as well, though. There is no issue with using it for your US clients. And man, I am very sorry. It is giving me a very hard time, and that's all on me, not on Wagepoint. Okay, we're cooking with gas. 2 seconds. And I'm just going to jump into my demo file. All of these apps, some of you know me, all of these apps have 2-factor authentication. Yay, hallelujah. And in some of them, you can force your users into it to use the 2-factor authentication. I think that is really important, especially if you are in these payroll programs. Financial Sense, you've got all of the client data in there, and Plooto payment, and then payroll, of course, is super sensitive. So just 2 seconds. So okay, automation I love. One of the automations is that if you have salaried employees, you can run that payroll automatically. You do not need to come in and run payroll manually. So that is something that I've enabled in my client files, is that the salary payroll is running automatically. For my employee, she gets a percentage of the recurring revenue of the clients she works on. So she is a combination of salary, and then she does other work for me hourly. So her monthly goes out automatically. And then once she is done her time tracking, I can import her time tracking and run another payroll for her. But no matter what, I don't need to worry about the fact that I could forget, or I could be on holidays and not run her salary. I run my own salary. And so that's what my clients are doing. The only case where that wouldn't work out, obviously, if there is a variable in what the amount is going to be. So the payroll run, direct deposit automated. So it direct deposits into your employees' bank accounts, direct remittances to the CRA. So you're not going to miss those source deduction payments. Those are being paid. WSIB here in Canada, that is our workers' compensation. That is being paid as well automatically into the WSIB. You can do T4 and T4A. Just hang in tight there, my American friends. You can do T4 and T4A. And that gets set up here under, no, it does not get set up there. You need to make sure you set it up. It gets set up under account settings. And then under account settings, just make sure that you are setting everything up to be remitted for you. And so it's T4 and T4As are those W-9s. They are the end of year tax summaries that go to the CRA. So those are being done automatically for you. ROEs, so record of employment. The record of employment, you can lay eyes on them and make sure they're correct, what you expected them to be. Same with the T4s, you can double check them, double check the summary, run your peer review, and then everything is submitted for you though. So you do not have to go through the process of manually submitting the ROEs, which is a biggie because here in Canada, that has to be done within 5 days of an employee leaving. So that is a beautiful automation. So there are hours and earnings, templates, CSV, and you can also, and I'm going to jump back into my slide deck. Oh, it's hiding under there. The other one is you can automate your QBO entry. So it can automatically drop into QuickBooks Online, whatever it is you're running in Wagepoint. You do not have to manually enter in QuickBooks Online, and you can have that. You can choose how you're going to have that entered. Do you want it to be posted as a bill, or do you want it to be posted as a journal entry? The nice thing about having those options is if your payroll payout is not in the month you want to see it reported in, you can have that bill go in for the end of the month and then show where the payout is. If you have clients, for example, I have a client that they run monthly and the month previous is paid on the 15th, but they want to see the reporting in QuickBooks Online of the month that the payroll was for. So that's when it's nice to have a bill versus that journal entry, which is going to be the date of payout. No judging. We do some work at the end of the year to make sure that it is when paid, not when worked. Okay. Any questions on Wagepoint? I'm looking in the, if you're wondering why I'm looking away, I'm looking in the chat panel. Okay, let's carry on then. And I hustled because I thought I wasn't going to finish in time. So I'm happy to come back to any demo stuff, or please ask me questions. I was so worried that I was going to go over with having to demo 3 products. Okay, summary. Automation is fun. I think we know that, but make sure that you define your outcome. Do you need the automation, or will a non-automation system, routine, or process create grand efficiency and calm in your life and in your business? Create a system, routine, or process before you automate. Test, test, test before you automate, and then enjoy the heck out of your extra time. So that is it for the actual product demonstration, but I'm super happy to come back into any of the apps. They're all still open here. Come back into any of the apps and demo or answer questions on anything. If you want more information, Financial Sense, it is on the, oh, you're going to get a copy of this slide deck. So you're going to get the links on how to get a hold of the various applications if you want to learn more about them or have an actual demo done with them. Time by Wagepoint is coming out shortly. So you may want to check on that one. And then there is another webinar coming up from the App Pack. So it is later in August. Tosin, I'm not sure if you want to unmute. I can't remember the date, but the link is actually in the chat right now. If you want to register, why don't I open it so I can see what it is? It is, now you can see it. It is August 23rd, and it is how to select an app. So it's a panel. So you may want to go in that. I know we all struggle with picking our apps and app overwhelm and all of that bit of business. Okay, the poll can go down. I'm going to jump into the Q&A now. Oh, where are the handouts for this event? The handouts will be emailed along with the recording, Tosin, or do I need to? I guess I could put the handout in right now, right? So yes. Just give me.
Yes, you can, but we would send out the recording as well.
Okay. So I'm just going to create a quick PDF. That was a swing and a miss on my part. I do not have that ready to go, and I do apologize. So I'm going to let that do its business, and then I'll pop it into the chat. Okay, so I saw a couple of questions on financial sense. If you want to surface those again for me, that would be terrific. And I can do whatever it is I missed. So there you go. The there is the slide deck for you that has everything on it. I'm going to stop my share for a minute. Now I can see things better. Was anybody like me to demo some other things for them? Because I am more than happy to go back to any of these apps. Otherwise, I guess we all get out of class early. Or does anybody you want to talk about anything to do? It doesn't even have to be about the topic at hand. I'm happy to either let y'all go early. I'm happier to actually have a chat on anything that you want to talk about. And it does not necessarily have to be just about the automation. We can talk about anything else. Okay, so you got confused on the next reminder date on the client tasks. Yeah, let's jump into the client tasks. The Liscio financial sense integration is coming. Is that correct, Tosin?
Yes, it's coming.
Okay, awesome. Let's go back into here. Let's go back into here. Now I'm feeling more calm because I got my demos in time, so I don't need to rush as much through some of these questions. Okay, on the next reminder date on the client task. Sure. So let's go into the client. So we're in a project. In financial sense, you've got a project, and then you've got a task list. Within the task list, you can have a description area. Then you have the subtasks that go with it. This is where you can automate some of the things. You can also @ anybody. I mentioned that if you @ somebody, you get notification. Should I drive George nuts with this? I'll just say hi. He will now get a notification that I wanted to talk about something. And then this is a new feature that I love. You can actually just like it. So you don't have to reply. You can just like it. And that, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I am such a dingbat. Thank you. Okay, let's start all over again. Geez, Kelly. Okay, so we are going to go into the prep work. So it starts with a project. You've got the project. You go into something. It's going to the prep work. You've got your subtasks. You could have a description here. There's all kinds of things you can do. Start the timer. And then in the case of me, you have to remember to end the timer. That's always the big one. If I have to use a timer in my task list, I actually put end timer. So then you can @ somebody to send them a message. Marissa and I use this a lot. So she's working in the files right now. We're doing finishing up a couple of year ends and some HST up here in Canada. And she is got some things that she simply can't quite get a handle on, so she can communicate with me. I can send a like or I can reply and help her out with that. Those notifications show up here when you get added. Notifications show up when it's your turn to do something, all kinds of things. And then you wanted to know about the client. The specific question was about the client notifications. So in here, if you want to make the client notifications recur, this is where you would make the client notifications, or you could do a custom one. If you don't want it to recur, send it one time and then send the notification when you're ready to send it. If you have it recurring though, and you have it set up properly, it will go out on the timing that you want it to, so that the client receives it without you having to do anything. That is the automated piece of it, is the client reminders can be completely automated. Did that make sense for the question that it was? It was next reminder date. Did I answer that properly, Megan? if I don't hear from you, Megan, I will hope that I answered that properly. Okay. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Megan just left a question.
Oh, I'm not sure what the next reminder date is based on. You mean for the clients, what is the next, it's based on the start date. So if it is the 1st of the month, and you want it to go out every 3 days, it is going to be based on, in my case, 7 a.m. July 3rd, the first notification will go out, and then the reminders will go out every 3 days from the start of that first date. Did I answer the question now? Hopefully. Okay. Any other questions, or do we all get to go back to whatever it is we were doing early? Anything else you want to say, Tosin?
No, that's everything. So you can register for the next APAC webinar with this link so that you don't miss the next one. Sorry, 1 minute.
Okay. Well, great. I super appreciate everybody taking time out of their day to come and join us. Hopefully that was beneficial for you. Hopefully you're going to do automatic startup pages for your Chrome browser. I honestly never get tired of harping on Chrome browser. I really don't. Oh, I want to show you something else that's kind of fun in a Chrome browser. Let me go back, and this time I will remember to share. Just give me a second. This is something that I use heavily as well, and is kind of fun. I'm going to share my screen. You can, if you want. Oh, I don't have it on here. I am actually not going to share. It's my demo, everything. So it's not going to work out to share. Anyways, thank you for coming, everybody. And Tosin, I think we're done here.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, everyone.